They had hamburger special, which is it's raw hamburger meat, and I can't remember what that is in English. But yeah, I took a bite of it and I couldn't eat it anymore. It has to be cooked thoroughly. Other crazy foods, I couldn't. Oh yeah, haring. Haring, coming from Hawaii where we eat poke, which is raw fish, and with onions on it and some other spices. You would think that I would love haring, but I couldn't eat haring. Yeah, I just couldn't put it down my throat. Just couldn't do it. It was too raw for me. But otherwise, I love Dutch food. I love all the breads, tijgerbrood, tarwebrood, all the cookies, speculaas. Oh boy, gevulde koekjes, everything. I couldn't stop eating. In fact, when I went back on my internship, every day I went to a bakery. I went and I knew that I only had 3 months. So I just tried to take advantage of as much bakery goods as possible. Favorite foods. I loved Indonesian food. Part of my cultural background, I'm Filipino, Hawaiian, Chinese. So I love Asian food. And then eating Indonesian food was great because you have this rice tafel and you have all these different dishes. And these people have been working all day to prepare this food. It's very spicy, hot, and so there's nasi goreng, there's bami, there's all these different items that they're preparing. Pinda sauce, which is a peanut butter sauce. It's very light and creamy and also a little spicy. So I love Indonesian food, and of course you have the Dutch food. You have erwtensoep, which is split pea soup. Different types of, there's dairy, there's all kinds of Dutch cheeses. Gouda, it's not Gouda, it's Goudse kaas. What else? You have yogurts, you have fla. I love fla. They're different. There's chocolate fla, chocolade fla, and fla natural. There's also, lots of different frites. And the different sauces. And the sauces are great. There's samurai sauce, which is really hot, spicy. There's ketchup, which is not really ketchup like we think of. It's more like a sweet soy sauce. You don't necessarily put it on fries, but also you could have it as part of maybe mayonnaise. And their mayonnaise is different from the American mayonnaise. So I interned in the Netherlands in 2004 with Philips Semiconductors. And my landlady, her name is Della. And Della's boyfriend at the time, his name is Gerard, and there was a dish called Zolt. And I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it was made out of. It was kind of a clear gelatin with kind of a pink kind of meat. And I took a bite of it. It was okay. And then Gerard said it was pig head, pig brains. And I couldn't eat another bite after it. And interestingly, I eat Spam because I'm from Hawaii, and Spam is basically varken, which is, it's, thinking in Dutch, it is pig, it is pork. So I can eat Spam, but I can't eat Zolt. Not anymore.
Some of my favorite Dutch foods, hands down, would be frites. It's they're just French fries, but they come in these, they call it a puntzak, which is just a point sack. It's kind of like a triangle thing, and they fill it up with fries, and then that either smother it in whatever sauce you want. They have a million different sauces over there, or some of them have it where there's the fries, and then there's a little dip thing that hangs over top of it, so you can take your fries out, and it's kind of all in one package. And that is the cheapest meal, the best meal, and probably the meal that I ate the most while I was over there. What else? During the winter, they have stamppot, which is just mashed potatoes with some vegetables in it, like carrots or onions. And then you have a wurst, like a bratwurst almost on the side. And then you cover that in gravy. And then Turkish food. Whatever Turkish food they have, just go and eat it. It's super good. It's called doner kebabs, and those are the best. Crazy Dutch foods. Number one is definitely the haring. And that's, if you've seen The Best 2 Years, where they're in the city center and they're holding the fish above their head and you eat it raw. If you cover it with onions, it's not so bad.
Some of my favorite foods, it's a lot like pudding, but it's called fla. It's VLA, but it's pronounced fla. So it comes in cartons, and they've got vanilla. They have some that actually the carton is split in half, and I don't know how they keep it separated, and you put whipped cream on the top of it, and I'm telling you, it's unbelievable. So I probably gained 20 pounds just on fla alone because I loved it so much. We would have contests all the time, who could fla chugging contests and all kinds of things. Here in the United States, they have so many preservatives in bread. Our bread will last a week or so, but there, because there's not really preservatives, the bread tastes so much better. So bread, and then their cheese is world renowned as well too. So and there's every market you go to, you've got the guy selling his wheels of cheese everywhere. And I would take and you slice thin slices of cheese, a little bread and butter on a sandwich, and eat that. So really enjoyed a lot of the cheese. Dairy in general there is amazing too. Maybe not a lot of people know this, but Indonesia used to be a Dutch colony back in hundreds of years ago. So there's actually a lot of Indonesian people that live in Holland. And so the Indonesian food, they have what's called sauté sauce or a pinda sauce or peanut butter sauce. A lot of people in Holland actually just get mayonnaise for their French fries, but every stand also has peanut butter sauté sauce. And it is so good, I can't even tell you. They eat a lot of meat and potatoes. For Christmas, they have a lot of pastries like oliebollen, which are, you put powdered sugar on it, and it's kind of like a donut, sort of. They have things called stroopwafels. You put the caramel inside, you clamp it down sort of like a pancake, they heat it up, and it is, it's fantastic. It's so good. So I would say the craziest is raw herring. It is a Dutch staple, and so they cut it up, they put it with onions, and I wouldn't say it has the most pleasant smell in the world.
The Netherlands is known specifically for its cheese. So like you think of Gouda cheese, it's pronounced Gouda, but that's where Gouda cheese comes from. Is like there's a city called Gouda, which I got to serve near. In reality, they're known for their dairy products. So Dutch milk is really popular, as well as cheese. One of the ones that we ate a ton while we were in the Netherlands is stamppot, which is just it is mashed potatoes with pretty much anything you can think of thrown in there. There's different ones that's like rodenkool, which is like red cabbage. They put red cabbage and a bunch of different stuff in there. There's other ones that sometimes they'll put pineapple and other kind of stuff and make it a little sweeter. You put like often nuts and like gravy and stuff on it. It's really, really hearty and super good for like a cold day in the Netherlands, which in the winter happens decently often. And that was actually one of my favorite things to eat there. As often as we ate it, sometimes you can eat things a lot and be like, oh, okay, we have this again. But every time we had it, I was just so excited. I love stamppot. Other things that are really good there are I actually really liked the haring, like the fish. You see a lot of people where you like dangle the fish in front of your face and eat it. I actually really liked that. I wouldn't say that I would like go specifically to get the haring, but they have these little fish vendors that are just like little carts that they kind of take around. And one of the things that I loved getting from those fish vendors is something called kibbeling. It's just like fried cod, I guess. I don't know if that's exactly what it is, but that was one of my favorite things to get is kibbeling and that fried fish, along with they have doner there from people like Turkish people, and like the Middle Eastern people have you can sometimes have doner shops there that are something that I miss a lot still. I love doner, and I loved being able to have it so readily available, whereas here you go to shawarma shops and they're super expensive sometimes, and they're not as traditional as maybe something in the Netherlands where you get it straight from someone who's from that exact country. I'd say the craziest food that I ever had is something called fufu. Fufu is made by people in Africa, especially Western Africa, to my understanding. I had it from a lot of different people from Nigeria, people from Ghana, and I loved it. Fufu is really good. It's just very different. So it's like eating soup with your hands. So they like create this pounded yam. So it's just this thing of like yam dough in broth, and you can pick up the yam dough and pick up some of the soup with it. I had it made with pumpkin seeds, which was really good. Pumpkin seeds and fish. Other times it was just kind of like a spicier tomato broth with fish and stuff like that. Lots of it had to do with fish. But I loved fufu. It was like super different for me to eat because it's like this giant thing of yam I don't even know what you'd call it. It's just this big thing of fufu is all we would like call it. And so it's really good, just very different, very interesting.